Hey there, everyone. Bobby D here with Heart of the Gala podcast, and I'm excited to be here with my interviewer, Dusty Klink, one of my newest auctioneers with Call to Auction. And Dusty has some questions for me. So
I do.
Go ahead.
I have many questions. This is going to be fun. So, well, you know what? How about we start off with the keys to a successful paddle raise?
Well, everybody wants to know about the keys to successful paddle raise. You have to, number one, let your guests know that you are going to be having a paddle raise. Many times, organizations forget to do that, and then they surprise the guests, and the guests are like, oh, they're doing this thing. I didn't know that. But if you're able to market that and put out images of other people holding up their paddles, and then connecting those images and that idea that us fundraising at the event can help increase the impact that we're able to have on the mission, then individuals will see that connection to that. They're like, okay, when I raise my paddle, it helps us do that.
So you say that was probably like number one, the pre.
Yeah, setting expectations.
And so then after that, what do you think about like the next thing that is a crucial element to the paddle race?
You have to have pre-secured gifts.
Yeah.
And you can ask at any level you want to ask at, but if you ask at any level and somebody doesn't raise their paddle, it sucks a little bit of energy out of the room.
Crickets, no good.
Yeah, crickets kill the momentum, crickets kill the energy, so you have to make sure that you have pre-secured gifts. And I always like to say at the first level, the second level, and the third level, because it says that more paddles up equals more paddles up. So let's really build that momentum, build that generosity feeling, and give social proof. Like, this is how we fundraise at this event.
That's awesome. So after that, would you say that you need to have somebody to talk about what this is going to, where's this money going? What's going on? What are they going to do with it? Like, how are they going to change lives?
Absolutely. And it's all about effective storytelling. And when you come down to the very basic of storytelling, there's a problem, there's a conflict, and then there's a hero that emerges in that conflict and is able to provide a solution for whatever that conflict is. And then there's the resolution of the conflict. And that's the results of the hero and them providing their skills or their talents or their treasures toward whatever that conflict is. And you have to effectively storytell about your mission, showcasing the life of an individual. If you're working with animals, talk about one of the animals, and then how your organization came in as the solution for that. But the true hero in all of that is the donor, because if you don't have any dollars, you don't have any mission. And it's those dollars, it's that fundraising fuel that continues to push forward your mission, and really putting the focus on your donor as that hero, and then really giving that resolution of the conflict that they had. And the resolution is, this is how we ended up changing their life. And there's more lives that are out there to change. So we need more fundraising. We need more of your help.
So with compelling storytelling, would you say that longer is better?
No. Shorter is definitely sweeter within all of this. And we want to make sure that your audience, they have a very short attention span. So we have to make sure that they can absorb, or they can accept all of that information that's happening. And if it's a 10-minute story, a lot of people will check out. So shorter is sweeter. 120 seconds, 180 seconds, 240 seconds at max. And that's all of your storytelling. Now, you could have that in video form. You could have that in-person testimonial form. You could have that in video and in-person testimonial form. There's so many different ways that you can utilize that storytelling, but making sure that the message comes across simply and succinctly and in a short amount of time.
Yeah, that makes sense. So in the event, of course, there's a lot of different ways that you can do the paddle raise, either before or after, or, what do you find is the most successful, and does it vary? It
does vary, but it's looking at your true goals of what you have for your event. Are you trying to engage more of your donors? And if that's the case, I'd say put your paddle raise first. Is your event one where people are leaving early in the night, they get their dessert and they're out of there and they're not going to wait for the fundraising that's a little bit later? Then continue to put that paddle raise first. If you only have one mission story to be able to tell, then put that paddle raise first, tell the story, then do the paddle raise, and then move into the live auction. Now, live auction can also be very helpful to your paddle raise. A live auction definitely raises a lot of energy, a lot of emotion, a lot of action within the ballroom, and then taking that movement and that energy and that electricity into the pure philanthropic moment where everyone is then able to make that contribution that's meaningful for them. And then you're utilizing your live auction strategically. That's there. You're only going to see about 5% of your guests and donors at the event actually bid in the live auction. And with your paddle raise, you can truly see 100%. Sometimes even more, where just the other night, we had an individual raise his paddle 4 different times at 4 different levels.
That was crazy.
It's possible.
That was insane. So after that, who do you need to have in the room? Like, anybody can do this, right? I mean, like, everybody can.
No.
Okay.
Well, we have one of the hardest jobs in the world. We public speak.
Yeah.
We motivate individuals to give, but we also ask for money. Show of hands. Who likes to do that?
Yeah.
But it's us. But there's not many people in the world that do like to do that. And sometimes organizations will really try to take the cheap route out and say, oh, we've got a board member, we have a funny uncle, we have a celebrity, we have someone that says they can hold a microphone and make the ask and do the pitch and do all of those things. Just because they can doesn't really mean that they should. Best comparison is sure, most everybody can cook. But are you going to hire most anybody to do your catering?
No.
Are you going to hire most anybody to do your flowers?
No.
Are you going to hire most anybody to just do your registration and things like that?
No.
So why would you just hire anybody to do your fundraising where that individual actually holds the complete future of your event in their hands with a microphone?
Yeah.
And if you're going to risk by putting anybody up there or someone that thinks they can do it, you're not going to guarantee results. But by using a professional that's experienced, that's trained, that understands fundraising, then you are limiting that risk and setting the right person in front of your audience to make sure that your ask, your call to action, your paddle raise is successful as possible.
Nice.
Okay. So, why are we still using paddles?
Well, I know we are in here the digital age, and everybody has one of these little pocket computers. Everyone has them, and there's so many technologies and solutions that people can use a cell phone for their fundraising. Now, here's a perfect example of why I don't like to use the cell phone as the only method of giving. I really prefer the paddles, because when you spend all this time and all this energy to, do your storytelling, to really inspire those hearts and those minds and encourage people to be involved within your call to action, that you're really inviting your guests to leave the room. And this is a perfect example. I just got a text message from my wife, and now all of the inspiration and energy that you've used to build that moment.
Yeah.
What I call the golden goosebump moment, you're allowing or even inviting your guests to leave the room, to just disappear, and to come out of that heart space, to come out of that head space, and to not be there anymore. And then it also gives them a chance to look at the sports scores, or maybe their bank account, or whatever that is. You're giving them a permission to leave. The reason I still like to use an analog paddle, paddle, paper, number. Everybody that has the paddle is someone. And yes, in the technologies, people can make the gifts, and it will come up on the screen, but it won't be in real time. And it's going to be impossible to get all of the names that are read. However, with a paddle raise, you're able to then now recognize each individual. Thank you 123, thank you 124, thank you 125, and each paddle number is individualized to that individual. And it's not just a giant crowd that's giving; it's actual people that are giving. So definitely recognizing them and thanking them for what they've done. That's one of the main reasons. But the other main reason is it's a very tactile, dynamic movement. And when people are raising their hands above their heads, then that releases dopamine, that releases different endorphins that make people feel good, because everywhere across the world they're all playing football, or here in America we call it soccer. And when somebody kicks a goal in football, what do they do?
Wait, got it.
Yeah, they get all excited. No matter where you are, they will get excited.
Exactly.
And the reason they do that is because it feels good. They've just succeeded. They want to, really show the world that, yes, I'm really, really happy. And when your donors are doing that at your event, they're physically releasing that dopamine. They're feeling so good about that. But then when there are individuals around the audience that see that, they want to feel like that as well, too. They're like, wow, that person's smiling. That person's happy. I want to feel like that. So then now you're creating that contagious electricity in which now individuals are like, yes, let's do this. Let's come together as a group and let's raise our paddles to make a difference. That's why we're still using paddles.
So one paddle per person or one paddle per couple, or like, what do you think?
I personally like to have every person with a paddle. Now, your couples can have the same number.
Sure.
Let's say they're both 1, 2, 3, and sometimes someone will go to the restroom. Sometimes somebody will go to the bar. Sometimes someone will get distracted. But if each person has their paddle, now that gives them permission to be able to give and to be able to bid in the live auction, give in the call to action, whatever it might be. And sometimes we see it all the time that one of the spouses will grab the paddle from the other individual, like, no, you're not going to bid anymore. Well, guess what? They have their own. They can make their own decisions. They are their own person.
I love it.
So that's, everybody should have a paddle.
Awesome. So, Bobby, what is incentivized giving?
So incentivized giving is really incentivizing or encouraging your donors to give beyond just that philanthropic spirit. Now, there are those that are motivated by the impact that they're making by raising their paddle, by making a donation, by being philanthropic and generous in their ways. However, there are those that are more, they're encouraged or incentivized by getting something when they're giving. Now, transactional giving, auctions, raffles, different things like that. But in your paddle raise and your call to action, having some way to incentivize individuals to give them another reason to give is a great way to get people involved. And there's a couple ways that you can do this. You have your matching funds, where an individual, a foundation, a business, a corporation would then match all of the funds at a certain level, or they will provide a $50,000 match. And then, we'll get 10 gifts at $5,000 and we'll match all of those and raise $100,000. So those matching gifts are a great opportunity to incentivize and to encourage individuals to double the impact that they're having, to challenge them to be able to give. The other side of that, the incentivized giving, is when you have an item or you have an experience or you have something in which everyone that gives at one level, or maybe they give at all levels, you're going to select one of them to win or be the recipient of this particular thing. And then now people start to do the math and they're like, wow, I have a 1 in 20 chance. I have a 1 in 5 chance. I have a 1 in 100 chance to be able to win this thing. Sure, why not? And it allows a very easy opportunity for people to give. And what I love most about incentivized giving is that this is a great opportunity to transform a guest into a donor. And if they're not raising their paddle and they're not giving or anything, they're still going to be a guest. They're going to eat and they're going to drink and they're a guest. But it's until they participate within the fundraising, is not until that's when they turn into a donor. And it's that transformation of donor, continuing to build that donor pool, which is so important for nonprofits. And this is a very easy way to do that with the incentivized giving.
That's great. Okay, so Bobby, let's talk about live auction success. You've done a couple live auctions.
A few.
Yeah, just a few.
A few hundred.
But so what have you found, like, the top things? Like, what makes the event, that live auction portion of the event, so great? Like, how do you make a great one?
So there's a lot of keys to success that are with this. Number one, you have to let your audience know that you are having a live auction. You also need to pre-market the auction items that you have. You could send out a sneak peek email, a sneak peek paper mailer. I mean, who sends mail anymore? You can send out a sneak peek text message. You could do a sneak peek phone call and pick up the phone and call your major donors and say, hey, we have this package. I think you might be interested in this. I think you would really enjoy bidding on this. It's going to be in our live auction. So it's letting them know that there is the auction and these are the items in which they're going to fall in love with. And when you have lots of individuals that fall in love with this item, they take ownership of that item. And when they go to the auction, they're like, I'm not leaving without this item. And then when you have lots of people that are feeling that, that's why auctions work. That's why you can raise more money and inspire what I call a radical giving opportunity. So people are giving radically within the live auction. That's what we really want. So pre-marketing that is very, very, very important. And then at event marketing is just as, maybe if not more important for the live auction success, because your guests will see the different live auction displays. And now it could be a poster board, it could be a roll-up sign, it could be televisions, it could be so many different ways to showcase what your live auction has in it, what the items are, what the specifics and the bullet points of that live auction item are. But you're also selling the sizzle. You're putting up photos on these boards and getting people to start thinking about their tropical vacation, or maybe they get to go out and drive a Ferrari or something like that. Again, they're taking that ownership with that. And then having your live auction items in the program, having your live auction items on the back of your paddle, having a separate pamphlet or something on all of the tables so that everyone does know what their auction items are. Now, there's another great way that you can do at event auction marketing is with the golden ticket. So now,
so explain that a little bit more for anybody that doesn't.
So a golden ticket or a golden paddle, or so many different ways that you can call this, is essentially a raffle in which you sell a limited number of tickets. And in this case, you sell 100 tickets for $100. It equals $10,000. And then you can whoever the winner is, let them pick one of the live auction items. So then everyone has to see and understand what their live auction items that they would pick if they do win for $100. And now everybody knows about that. And then people that have already envisioned them winning this item and they don't get picked, well, guess what? They're going to get to be able to win that in that live auction. So that's a great way to really pre-market those live auction items as well. So it's looking at all of these different elements and marketing opportunities, thinking like you're a for-profit business. How novel is that? A nonprofit thinking like a for-profit business, but looking out, getting that marketing out there, getting people really attached to those live auction items, and that really helps the best for the auction items you have. And then I get this question all the time. It's like, well, Bobby, what are great live auction items?
Right.
Well, great live auction items are what I call inobtainium. You can't find them anywhere else except at your event. You just can't obtain them. You can't just go to Amazon or get online and find them. You got to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. And that's the beauty about your community and your network that you have with your nonprofit, is that you have that network and you know some people and your people know some people, and designing these experiences that you can't get anywhere else. That's going to be the best live auction items. There's also live auction items that are very mission centric to the organization or to the mission or those that you are serving, and creating those experiences. Again, you can't find anywhere else, but it's tying it right back into the mission. Let's raise some money and send some kids to their first baseball game. Let's sell this backpack and raise some money for kids to go to camp. There's a lot of different things that you can do along those lines. And then there's those that are like, oh, we can't get any of this stuff. Well, there's a solution for that. We like to call that consignment travel. And there's a lot of consignment vendors that are out there. We've got a whole list of vendors that we work with, and they're proven vendors. We've worked with them for many, many years, and they pretty much provide travel opportunities to anywhere you want to go in the world. You want to go to Tuscany? We got it. You want to go to Napa? We got it. You want to go to the Key West? We got it. You want to go to Australia? We got it. We can pretty much get anything anywhere. There is a cost to that, but it is usually at a nonprofit wholesale cost. The value of the item could be $8,000. The cost of the nonprofit could be $4,500. Again, you pre-market these items. You throw those out into the auction. You have a professional auctioneer, and you have opportunity to make profit on that. But the best part about that is you're creating multi-sale opportunities with that consignment package that you can sell multiples of. Because if you have two people that are willing to bid $7,500 on this package that you bought for $4,500, $6,000 profit is way better than $3,000 profit. Double, yes, yeah, double, triple, quadruple, quintuple.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah. So there's lots of ways that you can utilize that consignment travel. And then one last thing on the marketing that I forgot to talk about was your PowerPoint. There's the screen. Utilize that screen as a billboard. Showcase the sizzle, the beautiful pictures of that particular item, and then putting the bullet points of how many days, how many nights, how many bathrooms, how many people. Are there any restrictions or anything like that? So people people to really understand as simply as possible what is included in this auction item, because most people aren't going to pick up their phones and look at it online. They're not going to pick up their programs. But if you have it in big letters up on the screen, it's really hard to ignore that. And these are your, kind of keys for successful live auctions.
Nice. All right. So, Bobby, what about where to put the live auction in your run of show?
Well, the place that you put the live auction to have the most success is identifying where your donors and your guests are going to have the most energy and the most focus.
The most moves.
No, not the most boots. We have to have just enough. We want them lightly toasted. We don't need them completely sloshed. But nicely toasted is great, and that usually happens after 2 drinks. Let's get them right at that 2-drink mark, and it's earlier in the evening. Don't wait until the end of the night, because you're going to have people that are going to leave. You're fighting against babysitter time. You're fighting against retirement people time. You're fighting against all of those things. So if you have that auction up front, you're going to see more participation within that. Now, there are times to have your paddle raise first, and that's a whole nother conversation, but you can use your live auction strategically as that energy builder, as that auctiontainment opportunity, that everyone in the audience is engaged with it as an entertainment experience, but then you have your donors that are there to purchase the live auction items, and then that's that philanthropic but also yet transactional experience that's there. So I like to say fundraise first, dance later.
All right. So we've all been to events that maybe you can't hear that great, or maybe...
What was that?
So what about like video and sound?
So in an audience, let's say 300-400 people of adults that are drinking adult beverages, they tend to get kind of loud. And having that many people in a room absorbs a lot of sound as well, too. And many times, nonprofits will take the budget way out and might have a DJ and just put 2 big speakers in the front. Well, the people in the front, in order to hit the people in the back to hear, you really have to blast the sound from the front, and the people in the front, that's an uncomfortable situation. And more times than not, then the people in the back aren't even able to hear anyways. So working with a professional production team is key to that, to make sure that you do have a surround sound element so everyone is experiencing the sound the same, but then also having professional video to where the slides are moving through smoothly, the run of show is moving smoothly, the video that you're going to play, that is your testimonial video that's going to raise you the most money, that gets played at the most effective spot in that night, and making sure that it will play on time without any glitches. Because again, we're building that golden goosebump moment, and it's all of these elements coming together that really make that happen. So yes, you have to use professional sound and video.
Yeah. Okay, so why use a professional auctioneer
when so many volunteers that are out there?
Well, yeah. I mean, what about, one of the board members or something like that?
Sure. And it happens all the time. And I would say that the majority of events across the nation are utilizing a free auctioneer. And it comes with the nonprofit misconception that they need to get everything for free. But is your caterer coming in for free?
I don't think so.
No. Is your venue going to give you the venue for free? Maybe, but probably not.
Yeah.
What about the flowers?
No.
Linens?
No, probably not.
No, probably not. And then all of the printing materials and the registration and all of those things?
I don't think so.
Yeah, somebody has to invest in that, and that's why you get sponsors to help to offset the costs of those. And I don't know where this idea came from, that nonprofits have to find a free fundraiser, or they haven't budgeted for a auctioneer ever in their existence. We just haven't budgeted for it. Well, that's where you have to put in a slice of your investment into your fundraiser, because your fundraising auctioneer and your fundraising auctioneer team are really the only things of your event that are actually going to put dollars into your account and have the opportunity to raise you more dollars to put into your account, versus all of the other things, the caterer, the flowers, the decorations, the linens, all of those things, they're just taking money out. But it's really the auctioneer that can put money in. So investing in a experienced and a knowledgeable fundraising auctioneer is really key, because you can hire any auctioneer and they might specialize in automobiles, they might specialize in livestock, they might specialize in real estate, and each one of those niches has its own particulars in which that auctioneer needs to be well versed in. Now, there's many that play different auctioneer styles for different areas that they're in, but there is a group of professional fundraising auctioneers that this is their sole business, that this is the majority of their income come from this. And the reason that they're able to do that is because they provide that exceptional experience. They provide in these cutting edge expert consultation opportunities, and making sure that all of the nonprofits are utilizing best practices in their events. Because if you don't, you could have it flop, and we don't want you to have a flop. We want it to be good. So you have to hire a professional, put it in your budget right now. I know you're all asking, like, well, how much does it cost? I mean, it could cost from $2,000 to $20,000. It all depends on how good or how experienced or how knowledgeable of a fundraiser that you do want to have. Of course, the ones that are the best are in highest demand, and the ones that are in highest demand the highest fees. But many times, they're absolutely worth it.
Okay, so Bobby, we have our live auction.
Yep.
We have our paddle race, so
Yes.
our call to action. And we've had a silent auction.
Yes.
What else? How can we make the most amount of money out of this event?
Well, there's a few other ways you can do that. Sponsorships is obviously an easy way. I wouldn't say easy, but it is a great way to create more revenue for your event. Inviting more of your corporate community to be involved, for them to be philanthropic partners with you, and it's pretty much they're paying for exposure at your event, but they're also paying for goodwill because you're a good organization and they want to be tied with you. So sponsorships is probably the number one. And then there's a whole nother kind of tract of fundraising that we like to call additional revenue generators.
Okay.
And additional revenue generators come in many shapes and forms. I mean, there's obviously the raffle or the 50-50. It was one of those. There's a game called Heads and Tails, which is really fun to play. That's a way that you could create some additional revenue that's within that. We kind of talked about the golden ticket, having a higher price ticket, at a limited number of tickets, 100 tickets for $100, 200 tickets for $200. I mean, you can do the math and find out that you're going to raise a lot more money with that. And either do a live auction, or let them steal a live auction item, or let them win some type of fantastic package or experience or consignment item, and then you're able to keep the profit from that. And then there's some things that we like to call the 10 by 10 board, which is kind of like a Super Bowl board, and then you number all the squares and people make donations for the squares, and you pick one of those squares and then they can win a thing. So that's another game that you could do. You could also do what we call the last paddle up, where you have some type of item that everybody wants to have, and the last person of the night that makes a donation is the one that wins. And now you have to have a professional for this, because a lot of times that this could run on and on and on and on. And I've heard of amateurs doing this and it taking 20 to 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And that's just sucking energy and time out of your event, in which your guests could be having a much better experience than having to handle that. And then there's also the what we like to call the paddle drop at the end of the night. Instead of the last donor giving, we would do a paddle drop where we last level of your call to action, $100, $200, $50, whatever it might be, and then having some type of prize for someone that drops their paddle in a big basket to win. This is a great chance to have 100% participation of everyone that's in the room, and they might be able to win something really, really cool. But really, it's just making a donation, and it's getting everyone together. And when you have 100 paddles that are in the air, it takes about 10 minutes to call off 100 paddles. And that is kind of the whole size of your call to action. So looking at the timing with that. And then the last one that we're starting to implement in a lot of our events, and we're seeing that it really move across the nation, is what we like to call instant buys or buy-in experiences, where an organization, here's a perfect make an example. Pickleball and princesses. Something like that. And where, it is it's a pickleball tournament, and then everybody gets dressed up in fancy clothes or in princess dresses and champagne and different things. There's the tailgate with the barbecue at the football game. That's another way. But what it's really creating is just an experience for a limited number of guests, 10 guests, 20 guests, 50 guests. And then you're selling each seat at your auction as an instant buy. So each seat could be worth $200, it could be $500 and whatnot. And then your professional auctioneer is going to say, all right, we have this great party. It's on this date. Who wants to go? Everybody raises their hand. Okay, who wants to go for $500 a seat? And then you have 20 or 30 hands that are going to go up, and then it's sold. And it's a quick way to make 10, 20, 30, 50, 70,000 because you're creating this experience that everybody wants to be a part of. But here's something that not a lot of people think about is it's a donor cultivation opportunity as well too, because now you as the development team need to be in that room with all of these people that said, we want to be a part of this experience, we want to give to your organization. And then now that group of people is together, and that's a great way to build some relationships. And there's probably another 100 different ideas that you can implement within your event to raise more money, additional revenue that's there. Don't do them all, because we don't want to nickel and dime anybody.
Right.
Yeah, that's nobody wants that. Nobody's going to the carnival at the event. But you could pick one or two or three of these and implement them throughout the event. And the best person to ask about that is your fundraising consultant, your fundraising auctioneer, and talk with them, and they'll bring some ideas to the table.
Nice. All right. Wow, that was so much information.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so how can somebody reach out and find a professional auctioneer? What's that process look like?
Well, there's lots of different ways to do that. Number one, hire us. Call to Auction, Inspired Hearts, and Star Benefit Auctions all have trained and experienced and energetic and electric auctioneers that are able to make sure that you're going to have fundraising success. Another way is continue to reach out to us as well too, because we have a nationwide network of auctioneers that we work with, and we know who's good and we know who's not as good. So we want to make sure that we pair you with someone that matches the style of your event. We want to match someone that matches the energy that you want to have at your event. And then someone also that fits your budget is another piece of that. So reach out. We can definitely make introductions. And then the third way is asking your network for references, for referrals of people that they've worked with in the past. And that's an easy way to find someone that's easy to work with, someone that's fun, someone that's energetic, someone that is experienced within this. And by your trusted colleagues, they're going to tell you the truth. They're going to say, here, this person's great. You should go with this person. This person's great. And then the fifth way is the good old fashioned Google search.
Yeah.
If that professional doesn't have a website and that professional doesn't have any video or testimonials on their website, why would you hire them?
Yeah.
You've got to know what you're getting into. You got to know what they look like and what they sound like and what their presentation style is. So looking into those websites, again, you can look for Google reviews and different things to see what people think about that individual, and probably could Google and see events that they have done. And then you can reach out to that organization and say, hey, how did Dusty Klink do at your event? Oh, he was the best auctioneer ever. How did Bobby Dia do your last event? Oh, he was the best auctioneer ever. And they're going to let you know of what that is. But really, it's finding that individual that matches with your event, and then also finding that individual that has availability on your date.
That's true too, right?
Many times we book up over a year out from the events that we're doing, and the best auctioneers in the nation are going to get booked up like a year, 2 years out, because those organizations that have had them before don't want to lose that opportunity of being able to work with that auctioneer again, and then going to have to find another one. So get in early. If your event's next fall, you should be looking for an auctioneer right now.
Yeah.
If your event is not until next spring, you should be looking for an auctioneer right now. If your event is in a year or 2 years, you probably should be looking for an auctioneer right now.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Well, Bobby, this is amazing. Amazing content, amazing stuff. I'm so glad I had the opportunity to interview you today. This is so cool.
Well, Dusty, thank you so much for that. And it's fun to share the information with you, especially as an up-and-coming auctioneer, and able to have all of that knowledge and experience in that. But then also for our nonprofit friends that are watching and that are listening, to really encourage you all and educate you all to the best practices that are out there, so that you can really raise more money. And that's my my goal as a professional fundraising auctioneer and event strategist is to really help as many people as I can, whether I'm helping them directly or indirectly by giving information, by giving education, making referrals and references and connections within that, and helping to provide solutions for that. So that's my passion, that's my purpose, and I'm super excited to be able to share this. So thanks for asking the hard questions.
That's great.
Right on. Well, thank you again, Dusty. We'll do an interview with you very shortly. But again, thank you to all of our listeners and viewers for watching Heart of the Gala podcast. So thanks again. Like us, subscribe, do all of the things. You know all of the things. But thank you so much for the work that you do and being awesome and going out and changing the world whichever way that you can. And you can make your event better and you can raise more money. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.